Hi everyone, this presentation looks at 4 ADR processes: early neutral evaluation, dispute resolution boards, mini trials, and summary jury trials. I'll compare what our textbook says with 4 journal articles and 1 news story, and show how ADR actually works in real cases, not just in theory. In the textbook, E&E is described as an early non-binding process where a neutral party, often a lawyer or judge, hears a brief presentation and then gives an assessment of the case. The goal is to give parties a reality check, narrow issues, and encourage early settlement. The Brazil article reports on an experimental E&E program in Northern District of California. It shows how E&E was designed to reduce litigation costs, improve early communication, and help parties realistically evaluate their cases. The article also provides data and observations about how E&E affected discovery, negotiation behavior, and settlement timing. What's similar is the core idea that E&E is an early, evaluative, and settlement-oriented. The article expands on the textbook by showing how E&E actually worked in a real court, including practical benefits and implementation challenges. The textbook describes DRB as standing panels, usually 3 experts, set up at the beginning of large projects, especially construction. They follow the project, hear disputes quickly, and issue recommendations or decisions to keep conflicts from turning into full-blown claims or lawsuits. Kamprath's article on DRBs and construction contracts explains how DRBs are written into contracts, how members are selected, and how they operate during the life of a project. It emphasizes that early proactive attention to conflicts prevents escalation, reduces delays, and often avoids arbitration or litigation altogether. Both the book and the article stress prevention and continuity. The article goes further by giving concrete examples, contract language, and evidence that DRBs can significantly reduce cost of overruns and schedule disputes. In the textbook, a mini trial is described as a structured settlement process where each side presents a condensed version of its case to top executives, often with the neutral present. After the presentations, the executives negotiate, sometimes with the neutral's help. The focus is on reaching a business solution rather than winning a legal battle. Eric Green's article, Growth of the Mini Trial, traces how mini trials developed from a single patent case into a widely used tool for complex commercial disputes. He describes how corporations use mini trials in areas like products liability, government contracts, and regulatory disputes, and why executives like having direct high-level involvement. The similarity is that both sources see mini trials as a way to give decision makers enough info to settle intelligently. The article expands on the textbook by providing real case examples, variations on the classic format, and insight into why corporate culture and executive engagement are critical to success. The textbook explains summary jury trials as abbreviated, non-binding trials before a real or mock jury. The jury gives an advisory verdict, which parties use to reassess the risk of going to full trial versus settling. Alfini's article compares summary jury trials in state and federal courts and surveys lawyers who have participated in them. It looks at how SJTs affect settlement, how realistic the advisory verdicts are, and what attorneys see as the main advantages and drawbacks. Both the book and the article agree that SJTs are primarily a risk assessment and settlement tool. The article deepens the picture by adding empirical perceptions. When lawyers think SJTs are worth the time, when they're not, and how local court culture influences their use. I chose a news story that reports on summary jury trials that are popping up in Florida courtrooms and the controversy surrounding them. Judges are using SJTs to move cases faster and conserve resources, but in one case, jurors said they didn't realize the trial was non-binding and felt misled. This directly relates to the textbook's description of SJTs as non-binding advisory processes. The story shows how, in practice, that non-binding nature can create confusion if it isn't clearly explained to jurors and parties. What I found most interesting is the tension between efficiency and transparency. The courts are trying to speed up case resolution, but if jurors don't understand what they're participating in, it raises ethical and legitimacy questions that the textbook doesn't fully explore. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I'm looking forward to learning more about what you all discovered this week as well.